The SMU Mustangs were one of the best teams in the entire country in 2024, regardless of their shortcomings in the playoffs. Coach Lashley did a remarkable job with this program, and it started with some of the recruits he brought over with him from Miami. Edge rusher Elijah Roberts was one of those players. He played a little bit of everywhere for the Mustangs defense and has been one of the most productive defensive linemen in college football for back-to-back seasons now. How high could we expect to hear Roberts' name called in the 2025 NFL Draft? That is what we will be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will be given exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board, with over 500 prospects and counting. You will be able to find all of my written evals, scouting reports, combine and pro day numbers, and all the advanced data that you guys need to help you be successful this draft season. It is one of the best resources on the market, and I highly recommend checking it out. Leave a comment and let me know which prospects you guys would like to see in a future episode, and without further ado, let's get into it. Roberts started his collegiate career at the University of Miami and really didn't see a ton of production for the Hurricanes. He transferred to SMU in 2023 and immediately his production leapt off the page. He had 71 pressures, 13 sacks, 16 tackles, 26 run stops, and 2 forced fumbles on the year. He was one of the highest graded players per PFF, and he followed it up in 2024 with another ridiculous season, posting 60 pressures, 8 sacks, 22 tackles, 25 run stops, and 2 forced fumbles on the year, and yet nobody seems to really be talking about him at all in this draft class. Roberts has absolutely ridiculous size on the defensive line. He weighed in at 6'3", 290 pounds, which in and of itself is absolutely freakish, but he also had an 82-inch wingspan. Given his measurements, I think he has really interesting versatility to be a contributor in both odd and even fronts at the next level. The thing that really sticks out on tape when you watch Roberts are his hands. His hands are incredibly powerful for a player his size, and he landed a serious punch on opposing linemen. He was oftentimes able to win his bull rush because his hands were so powerful, they were just able to knock defenders back. Roberts is more of a power rusher, and that is what he did best at SMU, and it certainly helps that his hands do provide some serious pop. I also think you see it as a run defender. When he gets his hands on an offensive lineman, he showed the ability to stack and shed blockers and blow up plays in the run game. I think he's got really impressive upper body strength. The motor and effort that Roberts plays with is also worth noting. While he isn't the most polished player in the world, his hands never stop moving. He is constantly in relentless pursuit of the quarterback, and clearly it pays off for him as he has been so productive over the past couple of years. There are 2 things that can't be taught in football: traits and effort, and Roberts seemingly has both of those. The biggest concern with Roberts is going to be his overall athleticism. He doesn't have elite bend, his lateral quickness isn't great, and he's not the most explosive player in the world either. I don't think he's ever going to be a player that can consistently win with speed at the next level, and I think it could limit his role. I think he probably is going to profile best as a 3-4 defensive end, simply because he doesn't have the speed to consistently set the edge in a 4-3. I also feel like Roberts is much more of a guy whose production is more of a reflection of his motor than his pass rush moves. He didn't showcase a ton on tape. He wins a lot with his power, which is great, but I wouldn't say that Roberts shows much more than a good up and over from time to time. Once again, I think his motor makes up for a lot of his issues, but he doesn't have a deep pass rush tool bag, and again, I think that could limit his overall upside. Roberts also falls into the trap of being an arms tackler. His tackling technique is really up and down, and he had a 24% missed tackle rate in 2024, and throughout his career has missed 17% of his tackles. I would like to see him improve his tackling technique and be more reliable in that department. With all of that being said, I really like Elijah Roberts. He plays hard on every single snap. He has been incredibly productive. I think he's got great size for the position, and I think he can defend both the run and the pass. I think his lack of explosiveness and elite pass rush moves will cause him to slip slightly, but he is my number 26 edge rusher in the draft class and my number 168 overall player. I do expect as I adjust my board that Roberts will get moved up though, because I think his tape is really sound. In terms of a scheme fit, Roberts is likely going to kick inside at the next level, like we mentioned earlier in the video. He has the perfect build and frame to be a 3-4 defensive end in the league. With his active hands, his powerful production in his lower half, I think he could be an instant contributor in the NFL from that 3-4 defensive end spot. My player comparison for Elijah Roberts is Indianapolis Colts defensive end Dayo Odeyingbo. Odeyingbo had nearly identical measurements when he was coming out to what Roberts had. Both of them were productive players as both run defenders and pass rushers, but had raw technique and some missed tackle concerns as run defenders. Dayo has yet to take that star leap that Colts fans were hoping for. However, I think Roberts will be utilized and deployed very similar as a versatile defender along the defensive line to what Odeyingbo has been for Indianapolis. Elijah Roberts is a game wrecker. He was in the backfield seemingly every other play, and you just cannot deny the production he's had. He's an awesome player, and ultimately, I believe that Elijah Roberts will be a 4th to 5th round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.